Okay, so today we have a web session about how to create unique wall framing corners and intersections because we have created a new technology for our wall plus. It doesn't matter if it's wood or metal. Today mainly my main project, my main model will be in the wood framing. It will be a wooden house, but actually it will be the same procedure and the same workflow for the metal houses as well. And my name is Renata Yachiena, and I'm an application engineer of our solutions. And first I would like to start with saying a few words about AGACAD. Actually, we're Autodesk authorized developers, and at the moment we have more than 10,000 users in 130 countries. At the same time, we have authorized training and certification centers. And we help to make it easier to bring BIM to life by eliminating tasks that do not create value. So today we're going to have a webinar about how to frame, it doesn't matter, residential or multi-story houses, including main framing, nailers, and the sidings. Then today we're going to create several unique TL or free end joists. Then we're going to save them and use them in different project places. Then we're going to make a sheeting layout automatically, which will be very simple. And then I will show you how to make shop drawings, but at the same time I will show you how to make them easily with using multiple sheets for one wall panel. So in general, during my presentation, if you have any questions, you will be able to write them in GoToMeeting questions dialog, and in the end of the session I will try to give an answers. Okay? So first I'm going to start a little bit about wood framing in general. Wood framing, it contains 4 products for framing walls, floors, and the roof using rafters or using trusses. It doesn't matter actually. And with using all of them, you can very easily make shop drawings or even make an export to CNC machines. This is one of examples. Actually this is visualization, but this model was created in Revit, and it was framed using wall plus, floor plus, and truss plus. So all these frames were generated automatically, and also of course we have created automatically the shop drawings for them. One more video more detailed about different elements for the same project, where you can automatically predefine and make prefabricated wall panels with different layers. Actually, it doesn't matter, they could be different types of layers in the wall. And here we have a truss system together with buttons, with sidings, which is automatically generated. And of course we can make one more scenario. Let's make a second floor, and then we can make one more roof system with using rafters, not trusses. So again, just one more scenario with different roof type. And as today we're going to talk more about the corners and different connections, so of course we're going to talk about the walls. And the wood framing wall plus is very good for framing walls which are created in your model. You can predefine different types of layers, and it automatically will frame it according to your needs and make shop drawings automatically. So here we have one more example how you can predefine different layers. Yes, and also we can automatically place the connections between the frames, and actually this is one example with a mixed siding, but actually the sidings could be different, and actually everything you can customize and make according to your own standards. And the metal framing wall plus, it goes we have the same scenario and the same procedure, but it will frame your walls using light steel frames, but at the same time the scenario and the workflow is the same, so you will be able to put the sheeting if needed, or some additional layer. Also you can actually there are no limits in creating layers in the walls and in framing them. At the same time, you will be able to make shop drawings and of course export to CNC machines if needed. At the moment we have several exports to different CNC machines. We think that we did it for the most popular machines, but of course we can make even some custom export to some specific machine. And yeah, so today more about the new technology which we have created in the Wall Plus. Here we have added possibility to create specific LT or free end joints, because right now actually from our customers we get quite many questions how to make something specific in the cases if you want to save materials, or if you want to keep the heat inside, and so on. So there are different purposes why structural engineers, they are making their own specific or custom joints. So actually the most popular connections they already created in the software, but we did a new technology which allows you to predefine it according to your own standards or according to your own rules. And of course you will be able to save these connections for the future projects, or you will be able to share it with your colleagues. And one more very good feature which we added into the new Wall Plus version is that you can now be more flexible with the shop drawings, and now you will be able to create multiple sheets for one wall panel. Okay, so now let's see how it works. And here I'm going to start with a project. Let's go into the external wall and let's see how it is created. I'm going to open the layers. So in this case it's quite simple. We have the main frame layer, we have a sheeting layer, we have the horizontal nailers, the vertical sidings, and then two sheetings from the internal side of this building. Okay, and now what we're going to do, we're going to find the Wall Plus from the wood framing tab, and here we have to make a link between this wall type and the framing layers. So here we're just saying that into this layer we're going to put the main frame, and we're going to use this configuration. Actually these all configurations are default configurations which comes together with the software, but of course you will be able to modify and make your own if needed. So it contains everything about the studs distances, the studs types, the plates, the bridgings or blockings, and it will contain all information about how to frame the wall. At the same time, we're going to put the sheeting with this configuration, then the horizontal nailers and the vertical sidings from the external side. So that's it, we're ready to frame. I'm just going to select these two walls and let's frame this. Let's frame it. So now it uses some default configuration and it adds the frames into the main layer. Yes, and first thing what you can notice, maybe existing users can notice, that we added into all the studs, we added the symbolic lines and symbolic symbols in the plan views. Actually, but if you are in the fine detail level, if you are in the medium, you can see nothing. I mean, you see the studs, but there is no such symbols which shows you the cut. But when you are in the fine detail level, you can see nice looking symbols. But of course everything you can manipulate and control through the properties, because it has the possibility, if you want, you can put it in the front side view if needed, and also if the studs will be built in place, it can have totally different symbolic lines. And now we see that maybe this corner is not very suitable in our case, and we would like to make it more complex, or just more specific according to our standards. So now we're going to modify this join framing. I'm going to select any stud from this connection, and now the tool shows me what kind of connection type I have right now in this corner. So actually these kind of types were default, and actually they were, like we thought, the most popular connections. But now we have possibility to create a custom join. And now here we can predefine and we can make our own custom connection, and we can save it to the database and share it with the colleagues. So this is our default configuration, which is here, which is very simple. But at the same time, anytime we can make a duplicate. Here, let's add, it will be our complex, let's say, L connection. Okay, so we have a new configuration. We have created a new configuration, but we didn't predefine any settings for that. And now here we have two studs. So at the moment I'm going to remove this one. Let's start from the beginning. And now you see that I can control everything, and I can control every stud. I can add them or remove them. And first of all, I'm going to put the stud, which is 2x4, for example. Actually, the sizes, it comes from the family, so you can predefine your own sizes if needed. And now I'm going to say that I'm going to put it, I'm going to rotate it. I do not want to assign it the depth according to the core layer. Again, I'm going to rotate it once again, and I'm going to put it on the external side of my wall. Actually, here the tool will indicate which side is internal and which is external. So here we see that this is internal side of our building. That's it with the first stud. Now once again, let's do with the second stud. In this case, again, it's 2x4. It's okay. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to put it into the internal side of my wall, and I'm going to say that I would like to align it with the previous stud. Then one more item. It is actually in the right place. It doesn't matter if it's 2x4. I'm just saying that the size will be automatically adjusted according to the size of the layer. Okay, and there's nothing I should do with this. Actually, if needed, I can add maybe a mount or a count of the studs if needed. And one more stud I'm going to put, it will be, let's say, 2x6. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to put it into the internal side of my building. If needed, actually, I can add additional spacing, but in this case, I don't need to have this. And that's it. I'm going to save it once again, and now I have two configurations. One is my default configuration, and another my complex L connection, which is created. And that's it. We're ready to press OK and see what happens. Yes, so this corner will be updated. Yes, and we see the result which was predefined. Now we're ready to go and predefine it. This corner, if we say that this is okay, we can predefine it for all other walls. So we can predefine it in our framing configuration, and we can say that we're going to use it for all other walls. So I'm going to the L connections. I'm going to say that I'm going to use the custom configuration which was created before. So I'm going to use this complex L connection. Near the butt corners, I'm going to say that there should be two studs. Then L internal corner, again, I'm going to use the same complex L connection. Yes, so everything is okay. And again, the internal butt, again, it will be a double. And the same actually you can do for the free end connections. Again, we have a custom joints. Also the same we can do for the T connections. Again, if there is no type which is needed, again we can go to the custom joints. And again, we have only the default configuration, but again we're going to duplicate it, so it will be again a complex T connection. Okay, and one more example. So in this case, again we have this complex T connection as a new type, and yes, so again let's start from the beginning. But here I'm going to show you one more example which will be like more interesting, because now I can put this first stud on the outer face of the connected wall. Okay, so as you can see, this stud stands here. Okay, so if we have the T connection, so we can say that it should be on the outer face. And now again, I can say that this should be maybe two studs, even two studs. I'm going to add the depth, assign the depth according to the core layer, and that's it. Now one more option. I'm going to put again the stud, but I'm going to rotate it and put it near the connected wall, but at the same time I want to assign the depth according to this connected wall. And again, one more type I'm going to put on the outer side of the second face. Again, there should be two studs, and again I'm going to predefine the depth. That's it. It's very simple. Let's save it, and that's it. We have created one more new type. So once again, let's check that we have really a new type, and actually each individual layer you can modify anytime. That's it. We're ready to frame all other walls. I'm going to save this configuration, and let's frame it. In this case, I have actually quite a big model. This is a hotel in my case, and there are groups which were used for grouping individual hotel suites. So in this case, I'm going to use multi-framing features, and I'm going to select the walls from the group, and let's frame them. So there are 6 walls in this group, and we're going to frame these walls automatically according to our modified configuration with our custom connections. Okay, so we're finishing with framing 6 walls from this group, and now we will see that every connection and every join was automatically changed according to our predefined settings. Yes, that's it, we have it. But again, yeah, so we have modified the T connections, L connections, and now still, if we see that maybe something else we need to modify, again, maybe we're not happy with this side of the building, again, we can go to the modify join framing, and let's try one more example. In this case, I'm going to duplicate. It will be like not just complex, but let's say it will be a simple L connection, quite simple. Okay, so we have one more type, and I'm going to remove again these types, and in this case we're going to have a little bit again different configuration. I don't need to rotate it. I'm going to say that the depth should be aligned according to the layer thickness. Okay, and one more type we're going to put on the side 2 according to the center. Okay, that would be a very interesting situation, and we're going to rotate it, and let's put it near the connected wall. Okay, so that could be one more situation. And again, let's save this, and that's it. We have right now again several connections. I just want to check once again that here we have the L and here we have a simple connection, the complex and the simple. Actually, you can just ask why there is these cuts in the. This is actually a symbolic view, and these cuts are needed sometimes when you have different shape in the studs, not just rectangular. Actually, if it's rectangular family, like in my case, it's not a problem. I mean, you don't need to rotate it, and it doesn't matter actually how it is rotated. I mean, what kind of side here we have. But if we talk about the metal framing, then you have C shape or the U shape. So that's why it's very important how the stud is oriented in the wall. Okay, so that's why here we did these symbolic cuts for the cases if your studs will be not rectangular, but they will have some complex shape. Okay, so that's it. We have a simple connection, and we can just press OK and see one more example. Okay, so we're updating the frame with this connection, and here we have one more type, quite different connection, which is custom. Now let's just go into the 3D view and see how it looks. So everything is okay, the frames were created, and as we have quite big model here, again I can use multi-framing features for finding identical walls in this project, and we can very easily copy the frames into all identical walls from this project. So now the tool finds all identical walls in this project. In this case there are 25 identical walls, the same as my selected wall, and now the tool just copies this frame to all other walls in this building. So as you can see, the wall plus can be very good for residential houses, but at the same time it is very good for multi-layered houses, so like hotels or hospitals and so on. So we can very easily distribute the frames automatically in the project, and as you can see, it's about 1 second per one frame. Okay, so we're finishing with framing 25 walls from this project, and next we're going to move on with other layers. We're going to put the nailers and the sidings. As you can see in my project right now, in my frames, there are no, so we can just check it in the 3D view that we have these all frames. And you can notice that in my case there are no actually details, like metal details or connections between the elements. Actually it doesn't matter, anytime you can add them additionally. So we have a function which can automatically add additional details. Again, all these details are just a sample connections and sample families, but in Revit, but you can modify them and you can create your own, and you can distribute them automatically in between the frames. Now let's move on and let's add nailers. So in this case, again, I'm going to select 3 external walls, and now let's add horizontal nailers. Okay, so we have the nailers at the moment, and one more layer. We need to add the sidings. Actually, the layers which I'm adding right now is just very important for me because later I'm going to make shop drawings. So I want to have just nice looking views. So that's why I'm adding more layers into these walls. So here we have vertical sidings. Yes, and we can just come back into our plan view. So we see here everything. We have the trimmers and the sidings and the main studs with our predefined corners. And now we can also split the sheeting. Here we have a function for splitting the sheeting into the segments, where you can predefine your own sizes and your own specification for splitting the sheeting. And with split sheeting parts, we can select the wall, and the tool can automatically split the sheeting into the segments. Yes, but for this, if we want to see this result, we have to go to the parts. And here we have this result. Okay, so the same, we can split the sheeting with all other walls if needed, but at the same time, let's go back to the 3D view. I'm going to show parts, and here we have the sheeting, but there's no splits. In this case, again, I'm going to the multi-framing. I'm going to select the walls from the group, and now let's split the sheeting. So you can see here that the tool now splits the sheeting into the segments. Yes, and here we have the sheeting segments. And now we are ready to make shop drawings. Now for making shop drawings, here I have very good news for the existing Wall Plus users, because we did quite many changes in shop drawing configurations. Now actually you can predefine. Actually, all the views are grouped according to the regular views or assembly views. Schedules, we have a separate tab for the schedules and separate tab for the sheets. And here you can just very easily add any kind of or any amount of views which you need to get in the shop drawing. So here you can very easily predefine the view. It will be a section, or let's say or it will be what kind of filters we need to add, what kind of view templates we need to assign, and again, the view templates comes from your project. If we want to put dimensions, we can predefine the dimension rules, and actually dimension rules they are saved in the separate configuration, and here it's very easy to predefine your own and different dimensioning rules and assign for different views. At the same time, you can assign different framing tags in each individual view, or the sheeting tags or connection tags, and so on. Now with the schedules, it's mainly the same. We have here you can make any amount of schedules, and you can filter and show different schedules, and show, for example, the schedule only for the main frame, or only for the sheeting, or only for the vertical nailers if needed, or the horizontal sidings. So in our case, they will be a horizontal nailers. So let's change it to the horizontal nailer. Okay, and now one more very good news is that now we are ready to make several sheets. So in this case, you can make not just one sheet per one wall assembly, but you can make several sheets if needed. And in this case, in my case, there will be 2 sheets created, and here you can assign different title blocks if needed. So that's it. After saving this, we can make our first assembly. I'm just selecting any frame from the wall, and now the tool collects all frames from this wall and makes shop drawing. So it generates the views, it adds the tags, it generates schedules, and it makes the sheets. Okay, and we have now result here. So this is let's say a nice looking 3D view, then the front side view with the main frame. Of course, we need to renumber everything. We have a feature which automatically renumbers every stud or every plate in the project and adds this information into the tags and the schedules. Okay, one more view with the sheeting. Then here we have a top side view. Then let's say material takeoff for the part list. Then separate view only for the frames, the separate schedule only for the frames or for the horizontal nailers or for the sheeting. And now we have two sheets. So now we can totally predefine, add different views. Let's say here I'm going to put the main view with the frame, then the view with the sheeting, let's say here. Then let's add the schedule only with the main frame, and one more schedule only with the sheeting, for example. And now in the next sheet we're going to put, let's say, our nice looking 3D view together with the material takeoff. Okay, and now let's go to the framing configuration and let's go to the sheeting, to the sheet tabs, and we're going to say that this sheet I'm going to use as a template for the next assembly, and also again one more template. So I'm going to use the same sheets as a template for all other walls. And that's it. Let's go back to the 3D view, and now let's create assembly for the second wall. Okay, so I'm finishing with creating assembly for the second wall. Okay, and now let's see results. I'm just going directly into the final sheet, and here we have everything. We have the view and the schedules, and one more sheet with 3D view and material takeoff. Okay, so that kind of new features we added into the new Wall Plus version. Actually, this version is not yet released officially. We're going to do that in these days. I mean, it will be maybe tomorrow, or latest it will be Monday. And then you will be able to find these new features. So mainly it will be a possibility with creating a complex connection, and also with more powerful and more options with making shop drawings. So today we were talking about the Wall Plus from the wood framing and the Wall Plus from the metal framing. Actually, all these features are totally the same, and but still in the wood framing or the metal framing there are more tools like the Floor Plus, the Truss Plus, or the Rafter Plus. But at the same time, I want to say a few words about the Roof Plus. Actually, a few months ago, and actually for some time of period, I was always saying that the Roof Plus is under the development now. So today I want to show you results with what we get at the moment, and now we have actually very good news, because now we have alpha version of the wood framing Roof Plus, and here you can see the results. So you can just take the standard architectural roof and you can make it framed using the roof panels, and this is an example with with the 3 layers which are framed, but this is again only one of examples. The scenario and the procedure would be that first you are just creating the regular roof, or you are getting it from architects, and then you are splitting it into the panels. So you are saying how it should be prefabricated. And here we have a tool which automatically adds these layouts, and you can very easily split it into the 2 pieces, for example, or you can join into one segment. You can very easily work with this tool for making the layouts. Then next step, the tool splits the roof into the segments. Actually, physically, it leaves the existing roof, architectural roof, and on top of that, it's adding roof panels, and it adds it into the construction phase. So in this case, you are going to have 2 roofs in one place. So it will be one architectural, yes, because we can't delete it, because maybe architects could be using, or you can make a link, you know, and you can link architectural model to the structural project. So here we're creating the roof panels according to the layouts which were created before, and then you can frame it the same as we did today with the walls. Okay, so you can frame the roof according to the you can frame this roof panel according to your predefined settings, and this is the final result for this sample project. You can frame each individual panel, and at the same time it will be the same procedure as we have right now for the wall plus. You will be able to make shop drawings automatically for each individual roof panel. Okay, so that is the alpha version, and for those who are interested in testing this alpha version, you are welcome to write me, and we will provide you the license of this product. Okay, and now for the existing Wall Plus users, I want to inform and just note once again that very soon you will see an update button where you will be able to update your wooden framing Wall Plus or metal framing Wall Plus, and you will be able to update it and have the latest features. And also for those who didn't try or do not have this product, you can download the free trial. Yeah, so it's just very easy. The first step, you should visit our webpage and download ToolsForBIM doc from our webpage. It doesn't matter if you're using Revit 2017, 16 or 15. And it's just very easy how you can get the trial. You just need to just to fill the form, and you will be able to get the activation code for the 2 weeks. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, you are welcome to add these questions into GoToMeeting questions dialog, and I will try to give an answers.